Coach's kid and have been around this thing forever. What is what is the thing? I'm sure people will realize there are crazy stories that happen. There are crazy things that happen. So, I mean, we'll talk about some fun stuff here in a minute. What is the one thing people don't realize about just the thing that sticks out to you the most, other than it being your dad? But just about being a coach's kid, about like the time, whether it's the time or the effort or the energy or anything like that. What is the thing people don't realize about coach's kids?
Yeah. The thing that people don't realize is that like we're not fans. And I don't mean that in from like we're better than you or anything like that. Like, oh, you're a fan. And I'm like, no. Fandom doesn't cover like how I feel about NC State, right? Like my blood, sweat, tears, family's livelihood, like depend on the outcome of how 18 to 24-year-old boys, right? Like that's not fandom. That's like, whoa, you're really in this, right? And like, obviously, dad's the one out there coaching and stuff like that. But my dad has like says, I could never do any of this without your mom. And like, our whole life revolves around college football. My brother's a college football player at Utah State too, so it's split right now between my brother and my dad. But like, my mom, my sister, and my life revolve around college football and like putting on dinners for those players, making sure that they know they love them. I meet every single one of my dad's players and recruits. Like I know those people. I'm devastated when they do or don't pick NC State. And so I think it's just funny because people are like, oh, you a fan? And I'm like, this fandom really begins to cover how I actually feel because I'm a fan of other teams and I know how fandom feels. And I'm a huge Detroit Lions fan and it doesn't feel the same. And so it's just like, I think that that's the one thing people miss. And they're like, well, you weren't a fan 10 years ago, so like, it doesn't mean as much to you. And I'm like, no, I promise you, whatever fandom you had 10 years ago, like, it means way more to me today than it will ever mean to you in your lifetime. And again, I don't hear from like a pretentious place. It's just funny because people don't realize that. They're like, you're a fan. I'm like, no.
A little bit, just a little bit more than a fan.
Yeah.
Um, what's the most challenging part? Is it just the time when you're younger? I mean, people talk about that a lot, and so I think people even that aren't in it are kind of probably aware of it or at least have heard of it. But is it just an insane amount of time more? Or like, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, my dad, one of the things that I like love best about him is that he doesn't have a lot of time, but every time he has time, he makes it like the most valuable time, right? So like if all he ever had was 10 minutes for me that week, like he made those 10 minutes like so important. I also think you're right, it's a ton of time. But I think a lot of us college football coaches kids can view it from a lens of like truly my dad coaches because he wants to make boys better men, right? And so like the amount of and my dad's a great guy. So that's the type of guy I want making these boys become better men. So I'm like the amount of time and effort my dad put is like being a father figure. And I know some of them have great dads, but like being a father figure and developing these boys into becoming good men and the future men that we have in our lives. It like gives you this perspective where it's like, oh, he's a great dad to me and he's this example to all these other people. So it is a lot of time. You never see him, but the great ones make the time. And so not to talk about the SEC, but like Shane Beamer, this is the hot take. He had posted that video, that TikTok with his daughter. He was just getting crapped on online. And it's like, dude, that's what college football coaches' dads do. When they have 2 seconds, like if they're good ones, they make the time and make it valuable. So I think, yeah, it's a lot of time. There's a way to do it the right way.
What has have you ever used like maybe that's a weird way to say it, but like have you ever used that to like who you are or being a coach's kid? Like do you subtly drop that, like whether it's in I don't know, an interview, a job interview, or just like a sales meeting, or just anything? Like, how is it? How has it helped in certain ways? Have you ever been like, well, if you only knew who my dad was, like, I don't know, but I'm not asking that very well, but I just get paid to talk about college football, not really relationships. So here we are.
That's funny. I try not to drop it unless you start being mean online. They're like being an NC State fan so dumb. I'm like, if my dad coach there, it's like a person. I don't now you look dumb. So like I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've ever like name dropped it. I will say it comes really in handy. Like something I have no concept of, and this is very nice and very niche. Like, I don't know how much college football tickets cost. Like, I've never had to park an hour late for $100. Like, I don't know. Like, if someone was like, guess how much the tickets are for LSU Clemson, like, you're like no concept how much they cost. Like, you have to pay for stuff like that. I don't have like a normal fan day experience. And so, like, that part of it, I'll name drop. I'll be like, oh, well, my dad coaches here and knows this coach here. So can I get tickets? That kind of thing I definitely do, for sure.
I would use that, yeah, so much. I would probably never be home on a weekend.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, which city would I like to go see a big game in this week? So
that's me every weekend.
all right, something that won't get you in trouble, but tell us a crazy story or something, just something that's happened. You know, I'm sure you've got 400 of them that will get you in trouble, but like just something that like crazy has happened and you're like, holy crap, I wouldn't even know about this. You know, not being, you know, who I am or related to my dad.
Okay, I have a good one. So everyone knows who the coach at Alabama is now. But I don't, obviously, I know a lot of insider information that I would never share. It's not my news to share, so I won't share it. So there's this group chat, and they were like, oh, I'm going to put money on, I can't remember who they were putting money on being the next head coach at Alabama. And I was like, you're dumb. You should put your money on this person. And they're like, how would you, like, start going in on me. They're like, how would you know this, that, and the other? And I'm like, is this person for real? Like, I you know, like, I've known that this man was getting hired for tweets. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that is what's funny about it, is like seeing people's posts online and they'll be like, you're wrong. And it's like, no, I've actually known for a while. I'm just sharing in like the most obscure way that I possibly can. So that's probably funny. And then like I get to the end, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. How did you actually know is the guess? And I'm like, no, I knew, because small world, you know what I'm saying? Like, they all talk to each other. It's funny because I think people don't realize that, like, they all talk to each other. They're all friends. There's only so many of them. So, you know each other really well. But that's a funny story for sure.
Yeah, the fans, it's funny, like every once in a while you'll I don't know, a couple of rival coaches, you'll find out like they vacation together or whatever in Destin or just wherever. And like the fans will just melt down and I'll be like, listen, I know that we bleed this stuff, but like it is a job. I'm not saying the coaches don't care, but it is a job at the end of the day, and they could be gone next week and at a new job or whatever. You have to take. And so like, yeah, I don't know that these guys hate each other the way that we maybe want the coaches to hate each other. Do you go to all the NC State games, or do you go to a lot of them and then try and do other stuff too? Or like, are you try and be there as much as you can? Or I know that Raleigh's not super close, but
yeah, great question. I go to a game every weekend. So I go to like big games, like we go to the Red River game, you know, like those type of things. I'll go to that. Like I said, my brother plays at Utah State, so I'm going to his game at Texas A&M and at Vandy and things like that. I'll get the FSU game, so if you're there, let's meet up. If you want a tour of Raleigh, let me know. And then I always go to UNC, NC State, but I just go to a game every weekend. It doesn't have to be NC State. I try to get to as many of them as I can. I'll be at Miami, be at Rivalry Week, and be at the FSU game for sure, and the season opener.
So. Yeah, I've looked at that FSU game, and we go to the mountains of like we go to the Blue Ridge area every year. That week, right? So we leave Friday after school, but the game is on a Friday night that week. So I'm trying to figure out if I can do it. Our cabin's about 5 hours from Raleigh, which is not like insane. It's not necessarily the first thing I want to do, but I have looked at it. I've got a couple of NC State buddies that are like, you got to come do it. And it really just depends on how big of a fight I want to pick that weekend heading into vacation, if I'm gonna make it over or not. So if I can make it about work, I can usually get away with it. If not, then I'm probably out of luck. So, hey, I appreciate you a ton for taking some time and chatting with us today. We'll get you back on through the season if you're not traveling or just doing whatever, but where can people follow you? Where can they find your content, different things you do?
Yeah, for sure. Content is definitely mostly only on Twitter. You can follow me at Savannah, the number 2 and the letter J, 2J. That's my last name. Yeah, that's where I post most of it. So that's all that you really need.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for hanging out, and good luck to the Wolfpack this year, except for that Friday night game right before Thanksgiving. But otherwise, good luck.
Right back at you.